The night wrapped itself around the house like a velvet shroud, thick and suffocating. Even the wind seemed to hesitate, as if afraid to stir what the darkness was hiding. My friends had left hours ago, leaving behind faint echoes of laughter that floated through the air, softened by the warmth of the wine still lingering in my veins. I sank onto my bed, letting the mattress cradle me, but sleep refused to arrive. The room swayed gently in dizzy circles, the shadows stretching and twisting in ways my half-drunk mind couldn't fully process. Shadow should have been at the foot of the bed, curled into his usual protective circle. But when I blinked, the air felt heavier. The dim light from the lamp painted everything in shades of gray, but his eyes glimmered faintly, unblinking, fixed on me with a purpose that made my chest tighten. "Shadow?" I murmured, my voice hoarse, dry. No response. Not a twitch, not a wag, just silence. My stomach tightened. Something was wrong. I sat up slowly, the mattress creaking beneath me. My head throbbed from the wine, but a sharper unease cut through the haze. Shadow took a deliberate step forward, and my heart stuttered. The sound of his paw on the floor was nearly imperceptible, but in that silence, it hit me louder than any clap of thunder. He didn't blink. He didn't shift his stance. He just watched, urging me silently towards something I couldn't see. Protective. Warning. I swallowed hard. A low creak echoed somewhere deep in the house. My breath hitched. Shadow's ears twitched toward the sound, but his gaze never left mine. The air felt dense, almost tactile, pressing in, closing the walls in tighter. I wanted to call out, to summon some courage, but my voice faltered. The kind of silence that watches you, I realized, had settled in. I could hear my heartbeat thudding in my ears. Every instinct screamed to move, but his gaze pinned me in place. Another slow step. Shadow's body was taut, muscles coiled. The room felt smaller now, heavier. My fingers grazed the nightstand, reaching for my phone, but before I could lift it, a dragging sound slid across the floor. Soft, almost delicate, but deliberate. Shadow's growl was low, rumbling through the floorboards, warning me. I froze, the hairs on my arms standing straight. He wasn't afraid. He was ready. I rose cautiously, my bare feet brushing the cool wooden floor, every movement measured. The hallway beyond the bedroom was swallowed in darkness. My mind argued it was nothing, a rat, the old house settling, but Shadow's growl told another story. Real danger. My fingers hovered over the phone again. Another small drag, closer this time. My stomach knotted. Shadow bristled, tail stiff, blocking the path, every instinct alert. Suddenly, the darkness seemed to pulse. Shadow lunged, claws scraping, teeth bared. My heart leapt into my throat as I stumbled, nearly tripping over the tangled blanket. Shadow. My voice sounded distant, swallowed by the room. And then, silence. For a few seconds, nothing moved. No sound, no shadow. And then the bark, sharp, fierce, followed by something moving fast, alive but not human. I flicked on the light. Bright, harsh, exposing the hallway, but still nothing clearly visible. Shadow stood halfway down, muscles tense, teeth bared at a corner where the hallway bent. "Come back," I whispered, but he remained, growling low, directed at something unseen. My phone buzzed again. A single line glowed softly on the screen. "Don't let him in." No number, no sender. Just the words. My chest tightened. Shadow lifted his head, alert. Something was in the house. 3 slow knocks came from the front door, deliberate, measured. My instincts screamed not to move. But curiosity, foolish human curiosity, nudged me forward. Shadow followed low, ears pinned. I neared the door, cold radiating through the wood like the night itself pressed against it. Another knock, softer, almost pleading. A voice, calm but hollow, floated through the door. "Please open the door." My throat constricted. "Who's there?" I whispered, silence. Another message appeared on the phone. "He's not who he sounds like." My blood turned to ice. My feet refused to move. Shadow's growl deepened, the vibration rattling the floorboards. Then the handle twitched, slowly turning as if drawn by unseen fingers. I lunged forward, forcing it back. Go away. My voice was shaky, brittle. No reply. Only a heavy, deliberate breath pressing against the door from the other side. I let out a shuddering breath and stepped back. Shadow didn't relax. He stayed a living barrier, eyes locked on the hallway behind me. Darkness swallowed the house again. Phone screen the only light. Another vibration. He's inside. 2 words, direct, personal, my chest seized, throat dry. I turned toward Shadow. He was halfway across the room, gaze locked on the hallway to my bedroom. Every nerve screamed to run. My body obeyed nothing. Step by step, I advanced, phone light trembling across the floor. The faintest shift, a slow creak whispered behind me. Shadow moved ahead, shoulders low, tail flicking once before freezing. The bedroom door, wide open now, air colder, heavier. Phone raised, bed empty, curtains fluttering. Shadows deepened in corners. My breath caught. A figure by the mirror, tall, still. Faint outline in dim reflection. I froze, heart hammering. The figure did not move, did not breathe, just stared through the reflection. Who are you? I whispered. Head tilted slowly, wrong, deliberate. Smile, just enough to reveal teeth where there should have been none. Shadow barked sharply. Phone light flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed the room. Movement brushed past me, inches from my face. I stumbled, hitting the wall, fumbling toward the door. Shadow barked again and again, growl echoing. I slammed the bedroom door behind me, fingers finding the switch. Light revealed calm, still room. Mirror empty. Shadow pressed low, alert, refusing to turn away. Footsteps echoed inside the room, slow, deliberate. I backed away, phone clutched tight, calling the first number I could think of, the police, static, through it, a whisper, Sana, line cut. Black screen. Final message flickered, you looked at him, light bulb flickered once, twice. And died, Shadow whimpered, pressed against my legs, heartbeat racing with mine. I whispered, it's okay, boy. It's okay. But I knew it wasn't. The dragging sound began again, closer, deliberate, unstoppable. The dragging sound crept closer, a soft, deliberate slide across the wooden floorboards. My heart raced, pounding so violently I feared it might leap out of my chest. Shadow stayed tight against my legs, every muscle coiled, ears pricked toward the sound. I could feel his tension like a live wire, vibrating in sync with my own fear. His growl was low, a deep rumble warning both me and whatever was out there that we weren't helpless. I took a cautious step back, bare feet brushing cold wood, the phone in my hand casting a shaky circle of light. The hallway seemed endless, swallowing the glow, stretching the shadows until they were almost solid shapes themselves. Every instinct screamed to retreat, to hide, to escape, but my curiosity, stubborn and foolish, pushed me forward. I needed to know what waited, what had crossed the threshold of my home. A slight creak came from the corner near the staircase. My breath hitched, shallow and rapid. Shadow's head snapped in that direction, body taut, tail rigid. The hair along his spine stood up as if charged with static. The dragging grew louder. More defined, like fabric scraping across the floor, but heavier, deliberate, almost conscious. My fingers tightened around the phone. Each step I took felt amplified, echoing far too long. The silence afterward more oppressive than the noise itself. I approached the living room, light quivering across walls, furniture, shadows. Shadow moved ahead, low, tail flicking, nose quivering. Then the window caught my attention. Half open, curtains fluttering despite the windless night. I froze. Something about the movement didn't feel natural. It wasn't the wind. I could sense it. Someone or something had passed by, brushing just out of reach of the light. My chest tightened, breath short. Shadow pressed closer, brushing my knees, growl vibrating in his throat. The phone buzzed again. Another message, this one shorter. Close the door. My hand trembled violently as I read it. Each letter burned across my vision, each word a command I could not ignore. I glanced at the front door, still closed, still solid. but the shadows around it seemed to twist and curl, reaching out like dark fingers. I could hear it now, the faintest whisper, almost beneath the creaking of floorboards. A voice so gentle, so impossibly close that it brushed the edge of my mind. Sana. I whipped around. Nothing, just walls and furniture, shadows holding their shape as though aware, watching. Shadow barked sharply, teeth bared, moving in front of me. He was my anchor in the chaos, the only physical presence that reassured me I wasn't losing my mind entirely. Yet, even he couldn't see everything. The subtle movements, the way the air shifted, the faint pressure of something unseen brushing past my arm, they were all there. Step by step, I inched toward the bedroom. Phone light illuminating barely. A few feet in front of me, shadows stretching unnaturally along the walls. Every instinct screamed that I should run, but the need to confront the presence, to understand it, overpowered my fear. I reached the bedroom door, wide open. Colder air spilling out like liquid, pressing against my skin, heavier than the hall. Shadow paused at the threshold, growl low and resonant, muscles rippling under taut fur. Inside, the bed was empty. Curtains swayed slightly, window still closed. I stepped forward, heart hammering in my ears. Shadows coalesced near the mirror, faint, almost imperceptible. I saw it again, a tall figure, still, its outline barely distinguishable in the reflection. Something about it felt wrong. Too rigid, too deliberate. Not human, yet mimicking human motion. I froze, breath hitching. Shadow pressed forward, barking low, warning me without sound. Then the light flickered, phone screen dimming. Darkness enveloped the room like water, cold and suffocating. I stumbled backward, hand brushing against the wall, furniture scraping beneath my touch. Shadow lunged ahead, growling, his body a living barrier between me and the corner of the room where the figure had been. Movement brushed past my shoulder. My stomach churned, chest tightening, fear pinning me in place. Something unseen passed inches from my face, deliberate, silent, malignant. I scrambled, phone raised, casting fleeting light. The mirror reflected nothing. But the air was heavy with presence, thick and cold. Shadow's growl shifted, turning from warning to aggression. He paced in front of me, body stiff, staring at something behind me. My pulse raced, sweat prickling along my spine. Then came the sound, a slow, dragging step, distinct, deliberate, approaching from the far side of the room. My knees threatened to buckle. I tried to speak.
Who's there? My voice came out hoarse, barely audible.
Silence, then the faintest whisper of my name. Sana. My blood ran cold. The sensation of being watched, followed, studied, intensified. My eyes darted across the room, catching glimpses of shadows that weren't there before, moving against the natural flicker of light. Shadow pressed closer, body rigid, fur standing on end. The dragging sound stopped abruptly, leaving a silence heavier than before. My breath came shallow, rapid, catching in my throat. Shadow's ears twitched, head turning toward the hallway.
He barked sharply, a warning, then froze. My gaze followed his.
The darkness beyond the bedroom door seemed to shimmer, alive. Something was there, something unseen. And it wasn't patient. I backed away, stumbling into the wall. My phone buzzed violently, another message flashing briefly. Do not look. My hands shook violently as I read it. The instructions were simple, direct, impossible to ignore. I realized then that whoever or whatever was here was aware of me, knew my every movement, anticipated my thoughts. I swallowed hard, feeling trapped between disbelief and dread. Shadow barked again, louder, more insistent. The air shifted suddenly, a pressure, almost physical, against my back. I couldn't turn. I couldn't breathe properly. The sound returned, closer, deliberate dragging, sliding, slow, methodical. My phone light flickered and dimmed. Darkness swallowed the room once more, leaving only the sound of my own heartbeat and Shadow's growls echoing against the walls. Then a whisper, soft and malicious, so near it brushed my ear. You shouldn't have come here. Shadow lunged forward, teeth bared, claws scraping the floor. I stumbled backward, tripping over the edge of the bedspread, hitting the wall hard. Pain shot through my shoulder, but adrenaline overrode it. I scrambled to stand. The dragging was closer now. Not just across the floor, but around me, circling, deliberate, intelligent. Every fiber of my body screamed to flee, but the figure's presence anchored me in place. A sudden crash in the corner, the sound of something solid hitting the floor. Shadow barked furiously, leaping between me and the sound. The air felt electric, almost alive, pressing down, vibrating. My phone flickered, barely illuminating the edge of the bed. And then silence. For a heartbeat, nothing moved. Then the whisper returned, faint, deliberate. "You saw me." I froze. Shadow growled low, body pressed against me, ready to strike. The room was impossibly dark. My chest heaved. I could feel the presence circling, waiting, calculating. And then, just as I thought it might leave, the dragging sound started again, closer, impossibly near, like it was right behind me.